we're ingesting poison.
Beautiful poison.
Yeah, beautiful poison. I'm sure a monkey found it out.
Yeah, right.
And it was like, this old fruit on the ground is tight.
Today we found ourselves on a familiar corner in Louisville, Kentucky. Across from the Silver Dollar and a stone's throw from the Hilltop Tavern sits a stylish and modern restaurant called Enso, a southern restaurant using Japanese technique and style to connect the parallels in culture. There we met executive chef Lawrence Weeks.
So, born in Orange, California, my parents got out of the military and moved to Louisville, which was the closest big city to where my father was born, in Lexington. He wanted to pursue some more academic opportunities, so we moved to Shreveport, Louisiana, came back to Louisville, and I was raised here until after culinary school.
So how long did you play tennis for?
14 years.
Oh my God. Were you like a champion?
I was pretty good for my age, I think. I was playing like in an age up from what I was, so I thought I was pretty good.
How'd you get into it?
My dad got into it. He got into it when he was a teenager in New York City, and he was really good and competitive, played in college. So I was almost a Venus and Serena story. It was a very structured life, especially coming from a Black family. There's a certain amount of discipline that is instilled in you, and then being held to a higher standard. You gotta have these checkpoints throughout the day to make sure that you're on track. When I was a kid, I hated it because I wanted to run free and kind of live my life a little bit more free. I would say that carried over until probably my mid to late 20s. And then I realized that having that structure is something that I needed. When I got busier and I had more things on my plate, that structure and having those checkpoints is what kept me on track. After that, I bounced around a bunch and ended up back home.
When Lawrence got back to Louisville, he started Locals Only, a Louisville pop-up that focused on local people, products, and food. Lawrence is currently heading the kitchen at North of Bourbon, and here we find him a few months into his newest venture, Enso, where he is the executive chef and partner. I wondered what it was like juggling two restaurants.
It's psychotic.
Despite his honest answer, Lawrence has a calmness about him and a great laugh. His restaurant, Enso, connects Southern food and Japanese cooking techniques. I wanted to know how this connection came about.
I'll say one of them is my blood, so the Southern side. Number two is my interest, which is the Japanese side, which I got introduced to through artwork and things around my house growing up from my parents being in Japan. So I'm just trying to bring those two parts of my life together. I want people to realize that we are more similar than different. Bring unity through food and through drink and togetherness.
Watching Lawrence put a dish together feels like watching jazz, and it feels like he's pulling from something greater than himself.
I'm the third generation of cook in my family. My great-grandfather, who I'm named after, he was a cook, but at that time, Black people couldn't be chefs, so he was just a cook. But in his community, he was regarded as one of the best. His son, who's also named Lawrence, wanted to be a chef, but back then, Black people were serving and not in the kitchen cooking. And now it's me who is a chef, and I'm starting to get accolades and recognition. I feel like I'm living out generational dreams.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
I don't think so. I think it's like a Disney story. I think it's it's heartwarming.
I appreciate his take on this. He made us look at it from a different perspective, connecting dots for us that we couldn't see. Once
I've done everything that I need to do, I'm fulfilled. I'm self-fulfilled. I definitely want to focus on having other people get that brought out of them, because everybody has their own story. And even the person who grew up eating Easy Mac and, you know, their mother was a terrible cook, they have food memories and they can bring something to life that's true to them. And a bunch of other people have that story too. Everybody has their story of how they grew up and how they think about food.
You went to school to be a computer engineer and then transitioned to doing food, and your parents were like, all right, well, you gotta pay for it yourself. It's like telling your parents, like, coming out as an artist or something. You're like, no, I'm an artist. Like, God darn it.
Well, for a lot of people, like I say it's like sports, or I compare it to sports a lot.
Sure.
Only 1% makes it. You know, 1% of cooks are gonna become successful chefs. 1% of those people are gonna be restaurant owners.
Right.
And then a fraction of those people are actually successful.
Sure.
So it's hard to make $1 and make a lifestyle out of it.
Yeah. But I think you've done okay.
I think I've done all
Got
right.
like 2 restaurants?
2 restaurants, a James Beard nomination.
That's not so bad.
Doing all right over here.
Lawrence has a lot of momentum right now, and he's affecting change, and it made us think of the potential outcomes of those changes.
A way to think about it is the person whose house is in the same neighborhood as North of Bourbon, their property value shot up because we're becoming popular. Like, we're changing a neighborhood. And that's not to say like gentrification or anything like that, because Germantown, it is going through a change, but a lot of those people have been there and they're, you know, 3rd generation people in Germantown.
Right.
Their families own those houses, so I think that's doing good for the neighborhood. The people that have been there get to
enjoy the spoils of that a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. I had never ever in my life considered a restaurant's role in that. I can see it, like I see restaurants as like a sign of gentrification.
Yeah, right.
But I've never in my life thought like, oh, it could also raise the property value for people who have been there. Not that it's like, see, the positivity in gentrification,
Right.
But it is an interesting point. Did you feel that responsibility going into it, or was it just something you saw and could reflect on?
It's something that I realized down the road, because it's not about outpricing the neighborhood. We offer things that are at a lower cost.
Yeah.
And for a value, but yeah, it's just something that I thought about when you put a successful business in a neighborhood.
Yeah. Did you know it was going to be a success out of the gate?
Not to this level, no.
Yeah.
I honestly took the job because I thought that it would be a slower pace in my life. I was like, 52 seats, we can only be so busy.
Yeah.
But it's far past
Yeah.
my expectations, and it's great.
Yeah. Was it success that led to this, or was this ball already kind of moving for Enso?
I think it was success that led to this. We want to raise the standard of restaurants in the city. People talk about community and people talk about hospitality, but you have to really get to the nucleus of it and not just look at the broad scale.
Yeah. You can create what looks like a community space or what looks like it's going to be something, but like the spirit of that is what matters to the most, like, to me at least.
Right, those Instagrammable restaurants that you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
That's like the icon of gentrification. It looks welcoming,
Yeah.
but 9 times out of 10, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a space that's there to get you to spend money.
Yeah.
Or to move a product.
Right.
It's not there to create conversation or make you think or educate you in any way.
Yeah. Where's the family connection for you?
For me personally, it's telling a story of like past generations, my ancestors, other people's. It's almost like creating history within trying to preserve it. So just keeping the tradition alive. You get to know culture through food.
Talk about food like like we're talking about appropriation of cultures in other places. And I think that food is this really amazing place for these worlds to merge. What do you feel about that?
If you learn from the people who did it before you, then you get to respect the culture and you have a different perspective. But if you're just going into it trying to make $1 or you haven't done your research, then it comes off as disingenuous. We want to do something that's like respecting the culture, but also recognizing that I'm not of that culture.
Sure.
You want to do a highball?
I would love to
Super
do a
easy.
highball. Yeah, please.
I have to admit, Lawrence seemed shy at first, but when he would open up, I could see how much joy and light he exuded, which made me excited to continue our journey and get to know him more.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thanks for pulling up.
Hell yeah. Well, I just like drank half of that in one sip. I just fall over. The chair ejects me.
So we left Enso and made our way across town to his other restaurant, North of Bourbon, to have some drinks and hopefully get to his Whiskeyland. There, we continued our conversation about this moment in time where he is succeeding and carrying on this legacy from his ancestors. It's this moment of pressure, like you're under pressure, and I mean, you seem pretty chill, but like instead of being like, yeah, this is a scary time, like I gotta do good, you were like, no, it's good. It's like an exciting thing.
Yeah, because I get to tell that story. I get the opportunity to do it, so I don't feel like it's pressure. I'm very competitive. Now I've given up tennis and now I train Muay Thai.
Really?
Yeah, but I like just thinking me against whatever. Like when I'm a line cook and I'm cooking, I'm not getting mad at that I have to cook because it's busy.
Yeah.
It's me versus the ticket machine.
Yeah.
You know, it's me versus whoever says the restaurant sucks or whatever. It's just like, I'm going hard for what I believe in.
Have you punched a ticket machine before?
I'm sure I have.
You know, who's asking? My lawyer says I don't have to answer this question.
Yeah.
This reminds me of remember Ecto Cooler?
Yeah.
It was after Ghostbusters. They put out like juice boxes that were this color.
Oh, that's cool.
It was called Ecto Cooler. Hey,
They're making another.
you gotta do this. This is amazing.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
Cheers, man. Whoa.
It's crazy.
Well, the nose, like cornbread, like wow. I did not expect that from that color.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That pandan leaf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then, a few drinks in, I was in my Whiskeyland. And a few sips later, we were all there together.
How many Neanderthals had to die eating fruit off of a tree?
Oh, yeah.
Until they were like,
Yeah.
probably shouldn't eat that.
Yeah, that's not the one.
How many people got called witches
Yeah.
and got killed until somebody's like, maybe we shouldn't listen to Dan down the street.
Yeah.
We've killed a lot of people and Dan keeps calling them witches. The only thing that people should use the internet for is shit like this. Like having real discussions and conversations.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're talking about food and drink, culture, and everyday life. We literally, like, we're ingesting poison.
Beautiful poison.
Yeah, beautiful poison. I mean, I'm sure a monkey found it out.
Yeah,
And
right.
it was like, this old fruit on the ground is tight.
I want to dance. I want to bang.
I feel like this is an American thing. We always want to go to the extreme.
Yeah.
We always want to redline everything.
Yeah.
And personally with bourbon, I appreciate lower proof.
Yeah.
If it's 80 proof, 86, I can get up to 100, 101,
Yeah.
and I can still appreciate it because you get the flavor.
Yeah.
But when you get into territories of like 120, 135, like, I can't appreciate the flavor. It's more so like a sensation.
Yeah.
And when I'm enjoying a cocktail or enjoying a beverage, sometimes I don't want the sensation to hit too early.
Sure.
Yeah.
AKA, I don't want to get too lit.
Yeah.
You want it to last. We want that sweet spot to be as long as possible.
Yeah. So I switched to rum. And again, that ties in with the story of like the Creole heritage in Trinidad and Jamaica, Barbados, all that.
Yeah.
What we have here is Fortuitous Union from Rolling Fork here in Kentucky. It's a mix between Trinidadian rum and 5-year rye whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, dude.
Wow, that's so interesting.
That's delicious.
Yeah,
like
you're like, what is this?
It's like drinking but fun.
It's just a gateway. It's like a gateway drug to rum.
Yeah, rum's so good.
Well, this is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. What do y'all doing the rest of the day?
We're chilling. We're hanging.
You wanna go to Hawks?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
It's right down the street.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
You can get some
Chill.
food.
Yeah.
Their food's good.
Okay. Cool.
We kept the drinks flowing and got to hang out with Florence the rest of the night. I can verify that off camera, he is just as affable and real as he is on camera. Everywhere we went, he seemed to know people. We inevitably ended up at the best bar in Louisville, the Pearl in Germantown. If you know it, then you know. And if you don't, well, then that just sucks for you. We drank a 3-piece suit and called it a night. I appreciate the time and consideration Lawrence gave to this and gave to us. He could be funny, he could be serious, and he could be honest. But the thing I loved most about meeting our new friend was his great laugh. It's important. It makes the world a better place. And to that, I say, to drink is to live.